No one noticed anything wrong at first. It was just another freezing night in Anchorage, Alaska. The kind where the cold cuts through your clothes and the streets empty early. Inside a small coffee stand, an 18-year-old girl finished wiping down counters, glancing at her phone every few seconds. She was waiting for a message that never came. And within minutes, her life disappeared. Security cameras captured everything, but what they revealed later would haunt investigators for years. February 1, 2012. Samantha Koenig was working the closing shift alone at a drive-thru coffee hut called Common Grounds. It was just after 8 p.m. The temperature had dropped well below zero, and the parking lot looked deserted. Then, at 8:15, a dark figure appeared on camera. He walked calmly toward the drive-thru window. No rush, no hesitation. When Samantha greeted him, she treated him like any other customer. She spoke casually. She turned around to make a coffee. Nothing seemed unusual, until it suddenly was. In a split second, Samantha stepped backward. Her hands went up. Her body froze. Whatever the man showed her instantly changed the situation. Investigators would later believe it was a weapon. What followed wasn't loud or chaotic. There was no visible struggle. Samantha followed instructions. She turned off the lights. She removed money from the register. She put on her coat and crouched down. Then the man leaned through the window and tied her hands. Moments later, he climbed inside. For several long minutes, the two figures moved inside the darkened stand. When they finally exited at 8:25 p.m., Samantha had something stuffed in her mouth. The man stayed close, guiding her every step. They crossed the parking lot and turned onto Fairbanks Street. And just like that, they were gone. No one saw them leave. And no one knew Samantha had been taken, but she left something behind. Inside the coffee stand, a small light kept blinking on the counter. Her phone. That detail would later confuse investigators, because 3 hours after Samantha vanished, a text message was sent from that very phone. And it didn't sound like her at all. Earlier that night, Samantha's boyfriend, Dwayne, was supposed to pick her up after work. He arrived late. The coffee stand was dark, empty. He called her phone repeatedly. No answer, assuming she'd already left with someone else. Dwayne went home to wait. At 11:30 p.m., his phone buzzed. The message accused him of something vague. Said Samantha needed space. Said she'd be staying with friends for a few days. Told him to inform her father. The wording felt wrong. When Dwayne showed the message to James Koenig, Samantha's father, he knew immediately. This doesn't sound like my daughter. James had raised Samantha alone since she was 2 years old. She was his only child. They were incredibly close. She had plans for the future, dreams of becoming a veterinarian, and had just started a new job. None of this behavior made sense. Then, at around 3 a.m., Dwayne noticed something outside. A dark figure was rummaging through his truck. By the time he and James ran outside, the person was gone. Still, police weren't called yet. The next afternoon, Anchorage police finally received a report that Samantha was missing. Officers searched the coffee stand. At first glance, nothing looked disturbed. No signs of a struggle, until they checked the register. The money was gone. So were the deposit bags. Then detectives reviewed the security footage. They watched Samantha working alone. They saw the man approach. They saw her recoil in fear. They saw her comply. And they noticed something chilling. She had a clear chance to hit the alarm. She did in single quotes T. Instead, investigators noticed a blinking light on the counter. Samantha's phone lighting up every time Dwayne tried calling her. When they fast-forwarded the footage to 11:26 p.m., they saw the man return. Wearing a headlamp, he entered the stand, retrieved the phone, and left. Minutes later, the strange text messages were sent. This wasn't random, it was planned, and one question haunted everyone. Where was Samantha during those 3 hours? Days passed, then weeks. Anchorage was on edge. Posters covered the city. James gave interviews, barely holding himself together. Then, 23 days after Samantha disappeared, another message arrived. It led to Connor Park. Under a photo on a bulletin board, police found a Ziploc bag containing a typed ransom note. It claimed Samantha was alive. It demanded money, and it included a photo, a proof-of-life image, showing a young woman bound, with tape over her mouth, posed beside a recent newspaper. When James saw the image, he stared at it in silence. Then he confirmed the unthinkable. It was his daughter. Authorities deposited money into the linked account and waited. The card was used again and again. Each time, surveillance footage showed a masked man wearing heavy clothing, driving different vehicles across multiple states. Eventually, in Texas, a state trooper spotted a white Ford Focus matching the alert. He pulled it over. The driver was alone. His name was Israel. Keys. Samantha wasn't in the car, but her phone was. So was her debit card, and the disguise from the ATM footage. Back in Alaska, investigators searched Key's home and property. Then they found a shed. Under questioning, Keys admitted Samantha was gone. He directed authorities to a frozen lake north of Anchorage. That's where she was found. Samantha Koenig had been gone long before anyone knew she was missing. The messages, the The ransom, the photo, all part of a lie. Investigators would later uncover that Samantha wasn't his only victim, and many answers were lost when Israel Keyes was later found unalive in his cell. For many families, closure never came. For James Koenig, the pain never faded, but he refused to let Samantha be forgotten. He dedicated his life to helping other missing families, pushing for safety changes and making sure his daughter's story mattered, because even though her life was taken in minutes, her courage helped expose a monster. And her story still deserves to be told. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Every perspective matters, and sometimes one comment keeps a story alive.